The PL Show is brought to you by Kel Chaco, Kel 360, and Kel Kids Toothpaste.
Yes, it's another Sunday afternoon, and here you are with us on the PL Show. Thank you so much for your company. Again, today, we will continue our conversation with Oheneyere Gifty Anti. We're doing this because she has so much to share, and we have so much to learn. So you want to stay with us here on this episode of the PL Show. My name is Keminni, Amanor. The PL Show is brought to you by the Kel Toothpaste brands, Kel 360, Kel Kids, and Kel Chaco, Kel Happy Smell. My makeup is by the African American Beauty Academy and Spa. Stay with us here. Let's enjoy more from Oheneyere Gifty Anti.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, Sankofa,
Yenchi, Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy Smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Last week on the PL Show.
Till today, people still believe that I've had a child with the former president and I'm hiding. Really. I will sneak out to go to where it's Ghanaian dominated or concerned, where they can, and go and get that extra story. And then they'll come, how come she got the story and you didn't get it? You a senior person. That means she's being given preferential because of that. It's an unnecessary tag they give to women, and that it's affecting a lot of women, especially in the media.
She describes herself as the woman with super crazy faith in God. Life's experiences have built her foundation of faith in God, and out of which all that she does spans from. Oheneyere Gifty Anti is a respected and celebrated broadcast journalist who has been practicing for more than 2 decades. She is a household name in projecting women's rights, motivational and philanthropic initiatives through the Standpoint TV program and the Gifty Anti Foundation. She also is a best-selling author of many inspirational and thought-provoking books. Oheneyere Gifty Anti is the founder and CEO of GDA Media Limited. She has won many awards and still in the business of impacting society positively in many ways.
That's what her life is all about now. It's really tough, isn't it? GDA, you've had GDA for how long?
15 years.
15 years?
Yes. 15
Wow.
years.
360 is brought to you by Kel 360 Toothpaste. If you're looking for something for your family to use both morning and evenings, Kel 360 Toothpaste is the one to go for. It's suitable for everyone in the family as long as you're above the age of 6. It has the cool minty flavor that will ensure that you have fresh breath every time you use it, and then also it would help you prevent cavity and remove dental plaque as well. Kel 360 Toothpaste is brought to you by Samara Company Limited, producers of Sasso, and it's approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. That's why you can trust this product. Let's get back to our conversation with Oheneyere. You decided to leave the state broadcaster, even though you were still the top girl there, the top person, not just the top girl, the top person there. How did you come to that decision?
One lady I met at GBC, Madame Gertrude Opariado, may she rest in peace, one time said to me, Gifty, don't stay here till you retire. And then Madame Doris answer. When she turned 40, she said, Gifty, me go. Me nya 40. Me dear me go. So don't stay here after 40 because there's so much to you. I see the fire in you and I know how the system can be. Don't let it consume you. But think about it. If you want to stay, fine. But if you really want to leave before you turn 45. Then fast forward, we started the Standpoint. And at the time I started the Standpoint, I was still at GBC. And Mr. William Ampem was the then Director General. I went to him and told him that I want to start the show. I want to do it in partnership with GBC. And he said, young lady, if you can find money, come and buy airtime and do your show. Because GBC needs money. So far as you will not let it conflict with what GBC does. You don't use GBC time, you don't use GBC equipment, find money, buy airtime, and you do it. I thought this man hated me for no reason, but I was determined to do it. So I looked for money, and I started the show, independently produced. So nothing.
No sponsorship.
No sponsorship, nothing. We started gradually, we're buying airtime to air the show. At a point before Mr. William Ampem Darkon left, he was traveling. You know, I know you'll be watching, man. Traveling for international conferences and being recognized for that amazing women's talk show on GTV.
You don't mean it.
Called The Standpoint. And then he would come and say, Gifty, well, how money, oh? Because baby, I'm mommy fans. What's it? Standpoint, it. I say, well, catch us, baby, you know. Later on, I got to know that he's actually my uncle. And he knew.
He knew.
He knew. I didn't know. I only got to know after he left.
Did you ever ask him why?
I don't think we've had it, but I think I know why. He didn't want me to feel that my uncle is there and so I could get away with murder. And he also, I think, didn't want to create the impression that because he was related to me, so I could get some leeway when something happens, and then maybe he made... In fact, there was a petition I gave him at a point. I actually signed. I was one of those who signed those petitions against that. I don't know if he's forgiven me for that, but well, he was nicer to me anyway. So, you know, so he did. But then after he left and the Standpoint started making a name, getting the awards, the recognition, it became a problem. There were attempts to take it from me.
Your own show?
My own show.
Privately funded?
Privately funded. Then there were excuses, there were reasons given that it's conflict of interest, there's that, and so many things. At a point, it became a bit too much. So I decided to leave and go good because I was determined to carry on with the Standpoint. Standpoint is my baby. I'm so passionate about it. And I'd always told myself that when I leave GBC, I'll not work for anybody. So I started planning. Started buying microphone, then I'll buy light. I bought a few things, the sound equipment. My cousin Kwesiaka in US, he's more into the electronics and stuff, so he would buy, and then I buy or pay bit by bit. And then I got a place. I rented a place, and then I bought cameras. 31st December 2013, I said goodbye to the viewers of GTV. And on the 2nd of January 2014, I was sitting in my own office at GDA, in my own studio. I took my time, I planned. When I was leaving, there were a lot of people who said that I wouldn't survive. I would come back and beg because I was always on TV. So they misinterpreted to me that I love TV so much. But then that's what I was doing then. So of course, I loved it. So if they say I do it 7 days out, I would do it because that's what I was doing. But I had a life.
And you had a plan.
And I had a plan. I was training myself. I was learning how to do it and how not to do it. So when I left and people found out what I was doing, they were shocked.
You decided that you wanted to do something on
women,
gender advocacy on women.
Yeah.
Why?
First of all, don't tell anybody I told you this. I was tired of being insulted. I wanted people to know that there were more women out there who were very outspoken, who were very assertive, intelligent, and more aggressive, or more whatever it is than I am. And I wanted to tell the women's story. Remember I told you about Christopher King?
Yes.
Christopher King wanted me to be her TA, and I said no. I had to come back home, and she wondered what was
back home
for me, because I was not married. I didn't have a child. My dad had died. My mother had died. My father died 2005. My mother died 2006. Yeah, a year after. Wow. Meanwhile, they were not married though. They were separated for the you know, for the longest of years. You know? So she wondered, and I said no. I want to, apart from the fact that I had signed a bond with GBC that I will come back, and the bond, and in those times you can pay. You know, you can pay it off. You know, though GBC was not paying my fees, but then they were paying my salary because it was a study leave.
Yeah.
I decided to come back, and she said, "Okay, Gifty, make me a promise. If you're going back, promise me that you go back and you help do something." She was a feminist. You do something to help the lot of the, not just the Ghanaian woman, but the African woman. I said, okay, Christabel, I'll do it. So I came back 2006 to the newsroom. I came at 2005 and I went to graduate in 2006 to the newsroom. And I was just this woman on fire. I want to do things with women. I tried to get women to, you know, be newspaper review, join the newspaper review on the panels, and, you know, and it was tough. And I think I don't remember who said it. And the person, you know, said it in a very derogatory way. It's like, if you want to do this, then why? Go and create your own show. And I took it to World Cup. I said, yes, I'll create my own show.
And you
I'd
did?
watched The View in America. I'd watched Loose Women in London, in UK. So I had an idea. I said, yes, I'll do my own show. And
you did?
And I did. So the first two shows, guess the topic, women in politics.
Not far from, you know, telling people, I did it.
I did it.
You did it.
Yeah. We did it with now Her Excellency Haji Halima Mahama. And again, my professional godmother was there, Leslie from Asari. And then a young lawyer, we used to call a baby lawyer. She's now at the presidency. She was Hamida Nuhu. I think now she's married, so her name had changed. Yeah, so it was the four of us.
Did you consider yourself a feminist prior to that?
No. Even when I started the Standpoint, I didn't consider myself a feminist.
Okay.
I knew that I loved everything. I loved to see women happy. And I used to get angry when I see women struggling. And I was always out there looking out for women. That's me. Because I didn't understand. My father just gave me the room to do everything. And then I went to Infantsmine Girls. We staged a coup, and I was part of it in the 80s in school. You know, they used to call us man's side. We could do anything. Then I came to the real world, GIJ, GBC, and everything you do. The men are doing it or doing worse, but they are calling you names, insulting you, and I didn't understand. So I wanted to prove a point.
Right. When did the feminism come?
When I started the Standpoint, I was still calling myself a women's rights advocate.
Okay.
I knew Christabel King. Then I had Professor Yal Graham. He was then Dr. Yal Graham. And then Professor Ken Atefa. Omobaso. Na ne can women empowerment. I'm sure me for women empowerment or me feminist ni ade. And almost 3 years. I'm say me for dictionary bra. And to your for dictionary I'm say me kind. Feminism, what is it about? Say obia and your Bible obia or koma emba. Send your mubenya omo political. They say amanyosemu, any financial musicasemu, na social the way you know assistant generally, and a legal yeba emremoa omubenya omuhunfa ahudi ene omubenya omu justice to say senyambe manu nyano enwa no enwa ni fem to mbisam say nia omakan no eno na me yana na am say na sinti ade na me sure say me frame ho feminist because nya me ye no eno ani feminism
but na usura na say na at that point na person the label beto ho
no it wasn't about na me nti ase basically na me nti ase nti that me feel say gender advocates activists are different from feminism. Sometimes so not feminism no America. Into omo dear Satan so strong dear no they were very feisty. Baby war and the top class of women in yomo ye no na me who say no be na me what me say na me who say no be na but Now there were different, you can say feminism now, you more different.
Yeah.
Me say no say ano. So be some say, then tina mama ye feminist la. Na catch you say my Betsy say in your Bible. E you see emba, e can't emba ho asem. E ma me to say emba, yes you dey say you benya ye ho, ye fa ho din.
Okay. Let's stay on or switch no from or GBC adwuma no. To say wankasa wo baby wankasa wo company na wo ye adwuma wo. Despite say na you know, in some kakra bi ekos or GBC anye wo de no. Was it an easy move for you emotionally? No, how did you feel about hanging the microphone there?
Oh, it was tough, especially the younger ones. You know, they cried because if you meet most of the young ones, and I'm sure when you read Abdul. You know, Moment, Selikem, Akolache, Apalumo, and I was their mother hen, their mother bear. I protected them, you know, every time. No, na me no more. And tina me kono na. Sisi a wukwe.
So tato watch ma won.
Oh, watch any dear, not just a level. Holidays is only a yekokonte.
I see.
You know, and no, oman can't just no come suko you me drink. Or be a person suman one because every time now I share so me come. Drinks near day. Inti me kase me sumo be way because o me na make way na because say no mo you drinks no. You know, inti honestly no for me more dear na me dream says it's your mukono who the but me catch me who so say listen, I need to set the pace. I need to challenge them more. No more say and this one too comfortable. What baby omo they say there's more on bet me aye.
Yes.
Say me met me aye almost better. Throughout my professional work, that has been my mantra. That has been my goal. To always set the example, to let young people to know, say be Gifty Anti put to me aye. Me so me to me aye. That has always been, so I'll always be this almost say, hey, you are setting the bar, I'm saying aye. I'm setting the bar high so that you can jump
over it.
Oh,
first show in your own studio, no net to say.
It was very beautiful. Oh, many years started in your studio audience, you know, and my own time. Na me di ye bibia.
One cat.
Me and I'm coming. Who's that? Me and become the cat. No, there be no more director.
No director.
Me was director. Me was crew. Me was a producer. Na me was producer. But me akasa na promoter. Director ne kra. There be ani akontoka. Ite yana me akasa my also madam. Please stay your role. Who the yes him say why you need na? We were GBC. We are director. We you need na now so pacho. Sisi ade. Concentrate on the presentation, the hosting, and now yes in your way. But it was such a beautiful feeling.
Share some of those stories now. What go through on the show no with us.
One of the ones that really stands out here, Mrs. Miriam Owoba Nanaya, beautiful girl with autism. In 2011, Satan Kanye your African Region Hotel, and omo buy no mo bekamba autism. Inti yebon komo na osio neba cry or neba ni ade. I'm so Mary. Obeka oba no ho asem. Osi sister mean to me. And yesu 1 hour those times you can 45 minutes. Yeah, the by 3 hours na yes our program recording. Osu no fiso ni ade. Miss Osim sister mean to me no so betumi aye. Mary, I just have a feeling. Said this is you need to break the silence. You need to do this. And oh yeah, you know, she had a lot of backlash because apparently, you know, Satan and the busia for crying name send a ban of autism. She had a backlash, but I say this to the glory of God. That was the breakthrough for her after the program. And even as I speak to you, on Facebook, she's always saying, she sends me for any time she gets an award, she gets an opportunity to go and speak well. She comes back and she'll send it to my sister. And Yawanka. Nyami Shroud. It was a propelling ground for her.
Yeah.
And now she's become an authority. She's helping other women who have children with autism. She's got the support. Quite recently, she had a multi-million-dollar support.
Wow.
For Nebano, any other people, any new organization. She set up an organization known as Click Africa. And then there was another lady who did an HND, but obeye kaya yo. No, nam dom market. No be hono no didn't bring am interview and say HND I don't know kind of story also. We bra wa ba kra onye juma and sembebre. Ye reappen I had a call from Blue Skies. Some be employee no. Or more employee no. Less than 1 year. Or be year the leader of her department.
Wow.
Managing over 200 workers.
Amazing. Imagine if she had not come into contact.
And no more menya kuno was standpoint so Bako on so first and I wrote her story Mary's story or book them. The latest book, When Strong Women Cry, and Counselor Favor Brown. Also, I attempted suicide 3 times. That was the first time all kind of story on the standpoint. And also became a breakthrough for her. She became a voice after the show, no?
Yeah.
And for the women, you know,
going through difficult
the difficult times and attempting suicide and everything. When you read the book, you get to know her true story. And she was a civil engineering, you know. So, I mean, it gave people an awakening and say, into obisa krabi to me afa when me so dear me family just say me so me to me survive. Now see, we not long after that, you know, until during the marriage, you know, what happened was that the last time she attempted, Nukuna no worrying at that time, no, reported her to police. Now, until the 29th of March 2013, now attempted suicide was a crime.
Yes. Until 29th of March of this year.
Of this year.
Yeah, 2023.
2023.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Into
my goodness.
But God being so good, station officer no understood what you meant no catching. So what you need is help. Into your man no counselors near there. Into your bar me sumi show no nam sumi man no clinical psychologist. Any who is a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Dr. Dodoy. So they helped her, and then she started her foundation, Favor Foundation for Life. No starting, and also one day, you know, Namana, some fine guy be. Guy is no say oh now about Gifty Anti show so no say no because no see start you on any kasa now. 1 year down the line, Auntie Gifty, I'm getting married. You have to come and cut my wedding cake. Come see, Favor. Right now, it's a yes. Hilda, she's called Hilda. Hilda used to call Hilda. Yes. No, see, because it's through the standpoint I got my husband. That's and you remember in all my might. I wasn't married then too. So I went there and she's had the most beautiful marriage for the past 10 years.
Amazing.
You know, and then there was a Muslim lady who also shared her, you know, experience on the standpoint of abuse. You know, and after that, she also had but she went to, she's now a doctor. She's become, not a medical doctor, but in psychology. She also remarried. The guy she married also saw her through the standpoint and became friend. That one time I went to cut the wedding cake, you know. So there have been so many beautiful stories coming out of the standpoint.
One of the things that I noticed, you know, even as a young person growing was the fact that it seemed to be the meeting point where women of all shades, walks of life, ethnicity, religion, they come together and they have that single voice.
Exactly.
You know, it wasn't discriminatory.
No.
Prior to that, were there platforms like yours already?
Yes, there were a few of them. There was the Oboshi Coffee Show. It was a talk show, but it wasn't women focused, you know. And then there were a few shows that were, you know, one-on-one celebrating women, you know, type of shows.
After they have achieved something.
Something.
Okay.
Yeah, but there wasn't a show that discusses issue. The standpoint is issue-based.
Issue-based.
Though every now and then we interview somebody who's achieved something, but then there's an issue. Related to that. They've overcome a certain issue, challenge. So it was tough. There are a lot of people who thought that it won't succeed because 2008, how many women will come out to say that, yes, I've been abused before?
Yeah, I was going to go into that. Yeah. You also discussed taboo issues.
Taboo issues, that's what focus. But what helped me, and I hold these women in high esteem, was that I had Reverend Dr. Joyce Ayi coming on to talk about her own difficulties through marriage, her first, second marriage. I had Mrs. Gifty Anti coming on to share her story. I had now Her Excellency Anna Bossman coming on to share, Dr. Juliet Twackley coming to talk about her own circumstances of abuse. So these women, prominent women coming on, Esla Wusu coming, I mean, so many of them coming to share their story. It helped break their ice.
Indeed. Why do you think that it was so easy for the women, or perhaps you were able to convince them to open up and share their stories, not only with you, but to the world? Because mind you, these were some taboo issues that women barely talked about, not even in private life, let alone to come out on national TV and talk about them.
You know, my editor, who went through the latest book, When Strong Women Cry, he said, Gifty, this is like an extended version of The Standpoint. It's because I created a safe space. They didn't feel judged. Like we're doing, it's a conversation. It wasn't a Q&A. The way being put on the stand. Okay, so you've been abused before. So what did you do that you were abused? And did you, you know, some of the questions can be very antagonistic.
Yeah.
But The Standpoint, like the PL show, was a conversation. And it's a conversation. You know, I didn't ask you what are the questions you're coming to ask me, because I've watched it before.
Oh, right.
I've seen the PL show before, and I know it's more of a conversation.
Yes.
So I didn't feel I was going to be judged. You were interviewed at a point when there was so much about me, and I've turned down so many interviews. In fact, the whole of this year, this is the first time I'm coming for an interview.
We're happy to hear.
You know, that because I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So you get people say, oh, women who do not, they want to, no. They want a safe space where they will not feel judged, where they'll be allowed to tell their story from their perspective. That's the platform I offered.
Were there blowbacks?
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about them.
Oh, this one I remember. There was this young lady who was at Legon. I have a foundation, Girl in Need Foundation.
Yes.
Now it's come under Gifty Anti Foundation. So I told her about how she struggles at the university and this, that, and that. So I thought that, listen, let me bring you on the show. I won't show your face, but let me bring you on the show and you tell your story and we can use it to raise funds for you. Keminni, this girl came and spoke. I even cried. I remember I cried on the show. Thank God it's an edited show and it's a pre-recorded show. I think a week after that recording, the very person who recorded it said, Mommy, apparently this girl is lying. Apparently everything she's told you is a lie.
All made up.
All made up.
Why?
She's just looking for clout. She's looking for relevance. I'm like, what? He said, Mommy. So and she was not on alone. She was on with two other ladies. So we had to heavily, and I didn't want the other ladies whose stories were true to suffer because of her.
Of her.
So we had to heavily edit her out.
My goodness.
And it taught me a lesson. So every time when I look for the people themselves, or when you tell me that you want to come, I do my own research. Make sure that what you're telling me is the truth.
My goodness. Did it make you question, you know, the other ones that you had heard? That,
Oh, yeah,
hey,
yes.
What if they also...
Yes, it did. And there was this one, I didn't even put her on the
mental
standpoint.
toll of that.
I was driving, I had my baby in the car near the Tatakwashi. I saw this woman with a baby, little boy lying in by then. She was pregnant. I stopped my car in traffic. I could have picked her up, put her in my car with my baby. My husband nearly lost his head. I said, no, I had this instinct. I took her to my office, found some way for her to buy. Did video, solicited within hours. We raised 5,000 Ghana cedis. People brought clothes, food. The MP for she said she came from somewhere in the Western region. The MP for the area sent someone to come to the office to pick her up. We picked everything. to send her back to her people in the Western region. 2 days later, somebody writes on Instagram that, that same woman Gifty Anti was raising fund is being seen at West Hills malls.
And is it because the way this can one farmer?
Thank God I showed everything when I handed over to her. When sometimes people think that everything we do we put on social media. It's because of some of these things. Because people can easily say that you are using the money for yourself, or you've, misappropriated the funds or whatever it is. And that the post the person made insinuated that I was broken. So yeah, I sent people, and she was there. When I called the MP and asked, the MP was shocked. So he called his people. They went to the station. Apparently, before the bus, they put her in a bus, bought a ticket and everything. Before the bus took off, they couldn't find her.
Oh, now we see every bus.
We see she left in Tarian and everything. She told me that a man brought her, impregnated her, and now has abandoned her and everything. Apparently, it's a scam. The guy uses her to make money.
Right, so there was no way she could go back.
Oh, I even got a daughter. One of my daughters, Dr. Mefakla, she left Kolebu with another colleague to come to my office to examine her. And she was 8 months pregnant. They gave her people don't know our journey. They don't know the stories.
But you've kept going. And I guess, the most natural question after that is what has kept you going, even though, you have suffered these setbacks from the very people you're trying to help.
The positive stories, the positive feedback. There isn't a single day, maybe single day is exaggerating, that I don't meet people or read from people on social media saying that because of you, I look up to you. And sometimes in my most difficult times when I feel like giving up, then you get somebody said, Auntie Gifty, you can't give up. Oh. If you give up, the number of people you'll be taking away with you, you have no idea. Years ago, I was going through a very difficult time. I went to Accra Mall to do my hair. That's exotic trends there. And I was so broken. So I sat in there. I think it was a broken heart or something like that. No, I had been betrayed.
Oh, right. But then you're broken heart.
No, so I betrayed and a man broken heart.
Oh, right.
By a girl I looked at and told her that she's the daughter I never had. And so I was sitting, so the tears were coming. There were a lot of people. So I decided to go to the washroom to go and cry and then clean up and come. When I was coming down, I met this young lady. She was looking at me. And I thought, as usual, maybe she wanted, I'm a hugger. So I said, why? Do you want to hug me? Come, let me hug you. I hugged her and she broke down. She was crying.
Oh.
I said, Lord, I'm supposed to be crying, not this one. I asked her, why are you crying? She said, Auntie Gifty, if I'd met you earlier in life, Kamisha won't maybe I'm coming near me. And I'm saying, Auntie Gifty, me were hard because me train say many bear maybe name ya kodana wa mamisika. Where they are here? 16 years. Are they? Me name baby and papa. Me my name mommy ye da kiosk. Me nu anu me ensa. Me na me ye penny. Me mami yari. Me nye juma biya me. Ti we ya na me ye. I was like, Lord, when I brought a university student to my house to live with, to support her, she betrayed me. Se help say me mfa akola or solicity 16 years. Onim senior you see.
At that time, you were nursing your broken heart from that person.
But I didn't have a choice. So what we did, found money for her, raised money, got her mother to do something. And she also started trading. And she did. She's doing well.
Amazing. You discuss issues that are considered taboo in the society, issues that are hushed a lot of times.
Yeah.
And television production is a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
And as you said, you began on your own independently. Did you ever have people coming aboard to sponsor the program?
Yes. It's been on and off, the early days, it was the show. I mean, everybody was talking about it, so we had good sponsorship, but people try, as always, to infiltrate, get you to do their bidding, tune in. But I told myself that I'm doing this as an agenda to promote women empowerment holistically. So anything that will hinder the empowerment of women, I will not advertise on the show. If the advert is demeaning to women, I will not. If the product is harmful to women, I will not. So I do not accept alcoholic beverage sponsorship or advert. No.
I see.
Products that are bleaching or whatever, I do not. If the advert you are bringing is very demeaning to
women,
I will not. And those are the ones who have the money.
That's true also.
Unfortunately now, the banking system, the insurance, the people who can support the standpoint are now all focusing on the other shows, the entertainment, the soft stuff, and that's where they want to put. But so I am left with either going that way or sticking to the course.
But you have stuck to the course.
I've stuck to the course.
And so how are you funding yourself now?
My speaking engagement, money I make from speaking engagement and sales of books, that's what I use to sustain.
My goodness.
And the partnership I have with multimedia, the Joy Prime, that's what has sustained me.
I see.
So I always tell my friends I should be one of the very fine, using the finest cars, but my money goes into it because I look at the bigger picture, the greater good.
I see. But you're still open for partnerships that will not try to influence you.
I'm still looking for, grants, donor support, and every time I'm pushing, to look for sponsorship. But it's seasonal. Sometimes during around maybe Mother's Day, Father's Day, around Christmas, Easter, you have stuff. But midway, then it's a dry season. And you have a period when you have everybody, a lot of people coming in to support and everything. And then we also sustain it by groups when, let's say, a bank or an insurance company or a product wants to promote something, they pay to come on the show to do it. But then that does not dilute the essence of the show, the agenda of the show.
Does it get difficult without,
It does. It's very difficult. And every time I ask myself, is it worth it?
And what's the answer
sometimes I tell myself, if I'm doing a business show, I'm sure I would have, shall I be driving my dream car, white Range Rover.
Is there a special reason you want white?
When I got married early on, something happened, from my previous relationship. So I lost everything. I lost my car, and I didn't have a car. And I moved in, we moved to Spintex area. And I was invited by a church around Sakumono. So I sat in a taxi. The taxi didn't have AC. I was sitting at the back. And then there was this white Range Rover ahead of me. I now remember. And I think, I've written about it, but I didn't link it to why my obsession with white Range Rover. And you could see that it's Tierra registered now.
It was breathing.
And the white car Range Rover was going wherever we were going. Hey, and then I see me. And lo and behold, it parked at the church where we were going. And this taxi driver decided to park just by the white Range Rover, and here I was, Gifty Anti, the main speaker. But
coming out of a dusty, rusty taxi.
And the taxi driver too annoyed me. Hey, Shamami on the car and red white, and Mrs. Nikunataman or Demu to send. And we had a good fight. I said, then the chest on you, no, you want to mean. Then the chest on to them say, me so metal white Range Rover. Now we are be catching me say, that is when my passion started. For the obsession with a white Range Rover. But we got down, the lady got down from her white Range Rover, I got down from a taxi, but everybody ran to me. Took my bag and all that, and went to sit down.
Amazing.
And after preaching, and people were coming to me, this lady came to me, hugged me, I was crying, said, I knew that I'll get a word from you. So I came all the way from Dansman to Spain, to Sakumono, just to listen to you. And thank you. You've given me the word.
And I guess it goes to, what your dad has always said, that a good name. Because that good name is what got people approaching you, accosting you, instead of the one who, came in a queenly.
Yeah. And the one who came with the Range Rover, she's the one, she came to me. And for me, it was a huge lesson. that it doesn't matter your circumstances. Just give of your best.
You can't make a difference.
And I remember I told her that this Range Rover, white Rover, also, mommy, you have to let me ride, I'll buy something jokingly and all that. I think that's when my love and obsession with Range Rover, white Range Rover started.
Indeed. Indeed. You're watching the PL show, and there's still so much to come with Oheneyere. Stay with us.
Brush, 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 brush your teeth. Brush, 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 2 times a day. Brush with Kel Kids.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kel Kids Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky chicky whiter, chicky chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kel Kids. Happy smile.
Welcome back to the PL show. We are here with Oheneyere Gifty Anti. Auntie Gifty, to see no, me say you can't or foundations no one briefly, then you can't books no so.
Okay.
Into o foundation meaning was it you had
Girl in Need Foundation.
Girl in Need, but see
okay. Girl in Need Foundation, your boy girls 18 years and below. Amo person mo go back to school. Amo person mo suansa no ejuma. Into I hear that for almost 12 years now. Ebi mo hwa omo bakra trunk chop boss sebe pant on beshe kro mo ni bi toothbrush sponge ni na prior to say ye to ni na momo. Until from birth to 18 years, because the whole idea is when you're 18 years there we penika obetumi aye adwuma e dey support wo ho na me dey our dance reading project. What we do is we promote literacy in rural areas, no. Now I'm falling in love with reading. Yes, your mom story books. Yeah, then it is a library. Mo koho. First one I wo Edumasa. Wo 4 classroom library. I'm the back one mom dey crash. Well stocked library, and I'm in my books so rural areas. This year, before my birthday in January, my 25 communities across Ghana, will be 100 books, so 2,500 books. After that, it be a beji. So in total, as at now, you share almost 3,200 storybooks across the country. Into a year, a wood and reading project, and they were happy feet. For the past 7 years, every Christmas, you be sank for brand new shoes, donate brand new shoes, some of these Cabania Koto shoes, and you see the man collar across the country, brand new shoes, because we need the way and collar pay Christmas.
Aye.
Now it's based on new shoes. Into new shoes and tariya near the momo. This year, last year, it become a Piazzi, you had to be called Volta, you had to be called Buipe, you had to be called a lot of places. Auntie, so far, those are the 3. I do mentorship. So, the girls who pass through health outreach programs. So, Nini na banda Gifty Anti Foundation.
Okay.
But Nini na so again, you're soliciting for funds from social media and then from friends and individuals and then corporates Ghana.
In Krofo Pese, Wamobua Gifty Anti Foundation. How can they do that?
Patch your number to call 0543 618182. Ube to me a WhatsApp, ube to me a call, ube to me a send a text. I'll respond to that.
We'll put the numbers on the screen as well, so you can call and pitch in. There are a lot of vulnerable people out there. If you can help, surely. And if you need help also, she's always there to lend a helping hand. I want us to talk about your books now. The first one you wrote, A Bit of Me, caused waves.
I know, right?
How big was that?
Oh, it was huge. It was huge. I mean, I sold 500 copies within 3 days.
In 3 days?
Yes, in Ghana here.
Wow. Just locally?
Just locally. At the launch, we sold 400 copies. And then 2 days after, I went to Kumasi and I sold the 100.
Sounds like people were waiting for you to release a book.
I know, right? Well, what did you expect? The book was, you know, the forward was by you know, my father, Reverend Istudanaba, and who had been on me for years to write. I say he has a special anointing for writing. You know, the man has written over, you know, 90 plus books. So, I mean, he recommended it too, was good. And I remember he saying, are you sure you want this book to go out? Because Gifty, you've put yourself out there. Then I said, Daddy, I need to share the story. People need to know the truth. Yes, I'll have the backlash. People like the mystery, you know. So when they get to know that you are vulnerable, you're that, but there are those who it will help. And I was right. It helped a lot of people. You know, people still buy it. And they still gave out. After that was 2019. And that book came out of a place of pain. I had broken my ankle. That was the second, you know, so I was in a cast. This is me, a woman who has struggled to have a child. And my child was my everything. And because of the POP on my leg, I couldn't play with my daughter. I was over. You know, I was traumatized. I was getting into depression. You know, I was always sacking my child. And you know, she was just turning 2 years because it happened in April. She was wanting her, she would cry and she wouldn't understand. I was sad. I felt I was being wicked to this little girl, you know. And then I started a bit of me, the videos, short videos, which I still do. And I think somebody was just sending it viral, or broadcasting, and it came to me. And I read it, and you know, I opened it, and it was me saying that life happens. No matter what happens to you, you keep moving. You don't stop.
Amazing.
Sometimes you need to run, sometimes you need to sit and all that. And encouragement, I was like, okay.
That was you encouraging yourself?
Me encouraging myself. What if I hadn't received this video? What could have happened? What if people out there don't get it? Let me put it down in a book so that when you have it, anytime you are down, you reach out. Let me read something from a bit of me for you. Bit 19. If only you know me. It said, if only you know me, I sometimes want someone to notice, to ask me if I'm all right. The problem is, I would say yes. I don't know why. Because behind my answer, I am screaming for help. I want someone inside my head who can tell exactly what I need, how to make me feel better. I may not tell you. Most have to pry, ask the right questions, convince me to trust them. That is the only way to take off my mask. Once you have the real me, it is noticeable. Everything stops. I let the pain show. This pain that is so hard to cover up, and yet I manage day to day. I would sometimes try to hint, but no one seems to get it. I don't know why. Am I the only one that feels this pain? I just want to be happy all of the time. Is that too much to ask? God, why can't I be happy all the time? You would know that I only try my best. I am only but a broken woman, still trying to walk tall, with a smile that says, with God on my side, I can make it one day. I don't know about you, but sometimes I get tired of saying, I am fine.
Amazing. What is the story behind that page, that bit of you?
My book, My Broken Leg. Yet, there's a picture. I was in a cast POP on crutches. Went to preach at ICGC, Wija. Is it a Bethesda temple or so? I went there, and everybody thought, wow, what a strong woman. And I stood, they wanted to give me a chair. I said, no. I stood and I preached for about an hour on crutches. Yes, I was in pain.
Wow.
But I wanted to motivate people. I wanted people to know that it is possible, irrespective, regardless, you can do something.
Coming up next week with our special guest on the PL show.
And guess what? The person who had done this to her had gone to marry a second wife. And her children are suffering. because everybody says it's your fault. Women are made to feel that it's your fault that your husband cheats. It's your fault that your husband left you. It's your fault that your husband is irresponsible. How? If you decide to stay in and cheat, it was a choice you had.